All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tracy Nyer, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC. I'll be your facilitator for today's webinar. For those of you who are not familiar, the Virginia SBDC is the largest and most effective provider of customized counseling and education for small businesses in Virginia. Most of our services are offered locally at our many different locations throughout the Commonwealth. Today's webinar is one of our educational offerings, and it's our first of our series in 2017. The series is Google and Beyond Marketing and Management on the Web. Today's topic is the power of G Suite, formerly Google Apps for Work. All of our Google and Beyond webinars are presented by Ray Sidney Smith. Ray is a web and mobile strategist, author of Solo Most Success, Social Media, Local, and Web Small Business Marketing Strategy Explained, and president of W3 Consulting. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type those questions into the question window and Ray will do his best to answer them. Without further ado, here's Ray Sidney Smith.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you to the Virginia Small Business Development Centers for inviting me here on the Beyond Google Marketing and Managing on the Web series. As Tracy said, today's topic is the power of G Suite and a couple of administrative items just to get us started. One, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them. I'm happy to answer them, and Tracy will be able to just smoothly slide into the conversation with us and have me go ahead and answer those. If you have questions after the webinar, I will have my email address on the final slide, and I'm always happy to take questions on Twitter at W3 Consulting, hashtag it Beyond Google, and I'll know that it's about something related to one of the webinars. And of course, you want to go ahead and follow at Virginia SBDC to stay in touch with the other programs in addition to updates regarding the Beyond Google Marketing and Managing on the Web series. So go ahead and follow at Virginia SBDC on Twitter as well. For those of you who don't know me as well, if this is your first time listening or maybe you haven't come in a while, a couple things about me. One, I am a Google Small Business Advisor, meaning that I am one of the advisors, the 30 advisors throughout the globe who help small businesses like yourself learn about Google. And so you can log on to the Google Small Business community by going to g.co/GSBC, and you will find lots of experts, the Google Small Business team, the professional team there at Google, and myself and the other advisors who are happy to answer your questions. It's a free platform. You have to just sign in with your Google account, and you'll be able to ask your questions there. So feel free and hop on over there with your Google issues, and we'll be happy to help if we're able to. I'm also an Evernote certified consultant, and so for those of you who know what Evernote is, it's a note-taking application, and a really great note-taking application, obviously, and I got certified in Evernote in 2015, and I've been really enjoying teaching small businesses how to use that as well, and we've done topics here on this series about that. And I'm sure we'll do future ones. Finally, I am also a Hootsuite Global Brand Ambassador, so I travel around teaching people how to use the social media dashboard. It's a social media dashboard that allows you to schedule and manage your social media all in one interface. So it's really fantastic, and so if you have any questions about that, feel free to go ahead and ask me those via email or otherwise after the webinar. Anyway, today's agenda is to really go over what is G Suite, formerly known as Google Apps for Work, and it's gone through several rebrandings, and actually in our pre-show conversation, Tracy and I were actually joking about, you know, sort of the crisis of identity of something like G Suite, which is a very large productivity suite of software suite, and so now it's known as G Suite. It now lives under the umbrella of a division called Google Cloud inside of Google, which is owned by Alphabet, the holding company that owns Google. And so we're going to talk about G Suite. We're then going to talk about the overview and setup of G Suite, whether or not you even need it in its totality or whether you need just a part of it, and I'll talk about that. And then I'll talk about learning, you know, sort of learning strategies and tools that you can use for getting G Suite up and running, including training your staff, and then we'll do Q&A. So we'll close out with some question and answer at the end. So if you can hold off your questions, write them down as you have them, ask us at the end, or just put them into the question panel, and Tracy will hold those to the end of the webinar if it's necessary. If she feels like we need to answer them during it, we will do that. So I'm going to be hopping back and forth between the slide deck and my web browser, so bear with me as I sort of punt back and forth to make sure that we can see what G Suite looks like and how it interacts and engages. Okay, so what is G Suite? The way that I think about G Suite is that it's your small business technology backbone. In so many ways, G Suite is the most streamlined small business what we call, IT infrastructure or information technology infrastructure on the market. And so what Google has done is they've taken communications, collaboration and storage, and then security administration and bundled them into this productivity suite for you as a small business owner to be able to manage all of those things, get things done, and have less stress doing so. And the way that I usually start off, I do a full-day workshop on this topic, quite frequently. And the idea behind it is that, with your mobile phone and a laptop or a mobile tablet, you can pretty much run your entire business today. Okay, if you have G Suite, and all you need is the Android platform or Chrome OS at its most basic. And the cost of entry into those products is so very low today that it's almost inconsequential. Nothing's inconsequential in small business. Every dollar matters. But when it comes to technology, hardware, the price has come down so low that basically with your mobile phone and a tablet or a laptop running Chrome OS or Android, you can pretty much run your entire business, which is just phenomenal. Thinking back to even 2000 or 1990, and being able to do the same things, you would be required to spend $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 in hardware infrastructure to do the same things. So cost has come down. The streamlined nature of it and the sort of productivity abilities of the software are just so great. And so I want to actually go through some of these pieces, but not until I actually get over to the interface. But just so you know, they've bundled together the communication tools that you may already be using as an individual, as a consumer. That is Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Chat, or what's now called Google Hangouts, and then Google+, which is Google's social networking service. So they've bundled together those pieces under communication and now given control of the brand over to you, the small business owner, by putting these tools within it. They then have given you collaboration and storage tools, of course. At its core is actually Google Drive, which I'll talk about a little bit later and show you. Google Drive is basically a storage place. If those of you who know Dropbox, it's sort of the equivalent of Dropbox, but a little bit more powerful in my opinion, because it gives you then a suite of 4 other products. Google Docs, which would be similar to Microsoft Office 365's Word, right? So it's like Microsoft Word in the cloud. Google Sheets, which is the equivalent of Microsoft Excel in the web browser. A Google Slides, which is basically like Microsoft PowerPoint, again in the cloud, and then another tool called Google Forms, which allows you to be able to do surveys and other kinds of data entry into Google Sheets so that you can track and maintain data from people. So you can do customer surveys, you can do all kinds of, you can use it as a timesheet tool, many other flexible options for that, as well as a tool for being able to publish websites. So through Google Suite or G Suite, I'm going to get that name wrong multiple times throughout our time together today. But the Google Sites is a tool that they've now reskinned and redeveloped to be much easier for you to be able to produce a very competent website for your small business using G Suite. And it's fantastic, and I'll show that for you as well. And then finally, the 3 other products are Google's Admin Console. And Google's Admin Console, as I'll show you in a little while, is pretty much where all the action is at. It's where you see everything about your business, how you enable and disable different services within Google, add users, remove users, and so on and so forth. Google then has a product called Google Vault. And Vault is basically for those of you who are conscientious or conscious about the legal aspects of your business and document retention, e-discovery, those kinds of things. If your business is highly regulated or if you're in a position where you're concerned about all those issues, you can basically upgrade the account to access those kinds of things. So you can have various kinds of rules that dictate how often documents, emails, those kinds of things are purged or deleted, which ones are permanent, and who has access to them. And then it audits them so that you can have reports on who has access to those pieces of information over the course of time, and that can be very helpful for you in any number of situations in business. And then finally, the mobile component. So under security and administration, you're now able to use the admin console on mobile and access all of the various products via mobile. So G Suite has given you this whole package in this sort of tight bundle, and it's really easy to use. It's not difficult to use as a whole. Each individual product has its own learning curve, but the suite as a whole is pretty much is pretty simple, and I'll show you around the interface very shortly. So accessing G Suite is pretty simple as well. After the branding, now we just go to gsuite.google.com, and that's where you can learn about and sign in to your G Suite implementation. Okay, so that's what we're going to do now. We're going to go ahead and enter into G Suite. All right, so the first thing, actually I'm going to take a step back here. So one of the first things that I wanted to talk about was actually whether or not you need the G Suite, okay? So many businesses come to me and they say, oh, well, we want to look professional in our current everyday business, and so we want to have our email address communicating as, my name at mybusiness.com, right? So Joe at joeslawn.care.com. But that's pretty much it. Joe is a lawn care specialist. That's all he does, and it's just him, right? Maybe he has a couple of helpers, but they don't have email addresses, or maybe they do, but he's just pretty much just starting out, and he doesn't really plan on doing very much more interacting or engaging with clients at the moment, but he thinks maybe at some point he might. So this is where this tool would actually be great, which is called Gmail for Business. And what it does is it allows you to be able to create a Gmail account that you already have, so that you have to already be using a Gmail account. So maybe it's, Joe is Joe's lawn care cleaning, lawn care services at gmail.com, and he's been using that. And he just wants to sort of up his ante, look a little bit more professional on his business cards and otherwise, so that when people email him, they can go ahead and see a more professional look. So he's decided that he wants that at yourbusiness.com email address. Well, if you already have a Gmail account, then you would basically come to this link at the top of the page here. So you go to google.com/apps/signup/you as in umbrella /0/gmail/business. I know it's really long, and I don't really have a short URL for that, so I apologize. But you go to this URL. You can. I'll be on this page for a little bit longer, so you can scribble it down if you need to. And so what this allows you to do is to basically increase the amount of storage space available in your Gmail account. It creates that Gmail account email address and automatically merges your current Gmail account and your new email account together. Okay, so this is really important to understand, because I don't want anyone to get confused with this versus G Suite. Okay, this is a very different entity, but for many businesses, this may be all that you need. Okay, so it's $5 per month, and you get increased storage. I believe it's 15 or 30 gigabytes. There it is, 30 gigabytes of email. So you have your custom email address, and the email now shows up as a new, if you want to call it a label, but basically a new folder within your Gmail interface. Okay, so you'll have your normal email, that you've been getting email at, and it stays where it is. And now your new email comes in, and you're able to go ahead and receive that email. So that's one layer. You're also able to then interact and engage with all of your custom email addresses and those accounts. So say that you do have 2 more people that join your company and you want them to also have email addresses. Well, you can manage all of that here with the Gmail for Business accounts, okay? So you're able to then add those email addresses and administer them all from a centralized place. You now own those emails, and I think the most beneficial piece or component of having Gmail for Business, if you're going to use none of the other products, is actually being able to have customer support. So through Gmail for Business, for the $5 per month, you get 24-hour, 7-day-a-week support from Google. So you can just contact them if you haven't run into any troubles. They can work you through setting up new accounts. They can work you through any kinds of issues that you might have, and they're there for you. So that's really nice. I really enjoy being able to contact Google and having a real person to speak with. So if for some reason you feel like you don't need any other parts of G Suite after we have our discussion, I just wanted to start out letting you know that there is this product available for you. You know, you get the 30 gigabytes of storage, you get a custom email address. Remember that you have to already own a domain, otherwise you can purchase a domain through Google Domains, you know, which Google's own domain registration service. You can go to another domain registrar and register a domain. So you have those other options as well, okay? So, so that is Gmail for Business. Now let's just jump over to the actual G Suite itself. So if we go to gsuite.google.com, we're taken to the main page of G Suite. I'll just give that a moment to load. I'm waiting for it to load. So anyway, when we're here at the main page of G Suite, you can see here that you have a number of different options. In general, what you're going to do is you're going to go into the sign-in area, and you'll be able to then go ahead and access your particular installation. Once you have it set up, though, you'll actually have your own custom domain. So maybe you'll choose to have admin.yourcompany.com, and that will take you to your G Suite administrative console. But you can see here that you can choose to go to your admin console, email, and Google Drive, all from your specific domain from the sign-in page of gsuite.google.com. I just wanted to go through a couple of other things so that those of you who are not familiar with some of these products can sort of get into an understanding what G Suite really provides. You can see here that Google gives you these baseline suite of products, but you actually have many, many more services that are available to you within G Suite. Okay, so these are the baseline products, and then once you have those and you're invested in setting up email and making sure your calendars are set up and so on and so forth, one of the things that I love about G Suite is that you can then use these tools for many different reasons and then extend the capacity to other services. And once I log in, you'll get a better idea about that. One thing that I really love is, say, Google Calendar. Well, within G Suite, your Google Calendar can actually not only manage multiple schedules, so you can share your calendar or parts of your calendar with your staff so that they can see available time versus unavailable time in your calendar. But you can also have resources like a projector. Say that if you have a projector that you share among various staff members, or if you have other kinds of equipment, or if you have a conference room that you need to manage so that 2 people don't show up to the conference room thinking that they can take the same space. Here in Google Calendar, inside the G Suite Google Calendar edition, you can then go ahead and connect those pieces. I also enjoy being able to attach documents or having virtual events attached to a calendar item, so you can let people know, by the way, we're going to connect through Google Hangouts here, and that's going to be the way we're going to connect, and it automatically inserts the link to the virtual meeting from within G Suite. So just think about the various ways in which you can use all of these products, and they all work seamlessly together because they're so tightly integrated within the G Suite platform. All right, so let me just take you into the platform so you can sort of see what it looks like. I normally would try and set up an account for you, but just for time's sake today, I'm going to take you into the admin console, and you'll see that Google has pretty much taken care of the getting started process. Let me just show you the main page here, just because it's helpful for you to see. But you click on Getting Started, the big green button here, and I'll talk about sign up later. For those of you who stay to the end, I have a little special offer for those folks who would like a discount. And so the main page of the sign up, you go through 3 stages of the process. They take some information down. They have you set up your domain that you're going to be using, and then they work you through the billing details. You get a free 14-day trial through however you sign up for G Suite. So you have those free 14 days to test out the platform, get things set up, and really kick the tires so that you can see how it all operates. You can see here that when you sign up, it asks you for your current email address you use at work. Note that this doesn't have to be the email address that's associated with your domain. It just needs to be an email address that you are comfortable receiving email at, so that it's there. Okay? You'll go through the process, and then it'll take you into the dashboard so that you can go ahead and get started with setting up. And now I'm going to take you back to the sign-in page. Once you have gone through the wizard, you'll be signed up, and you'll basically be at this page. There is a little bit of discussion that Google will have to have with you in regard to you going ahead and setting up your domain. So if you have a web address already, like we do with W3C Inc., you're going to go ahead and need to have your domain registrar set up a couple of technical components. You'll just call them, and they can walk you through that over the phone, and it's usually very easy. Okay, so I'm going to take you into one of our admin consoles just so that you can see what it looks like. And let's see. What kind of, I think I may be signed into the wrong, oh yes, I'm in a wrong spot. Okay, let's go here. So I clicked on sign in. It'll ask you for the domain associated with that particular account. I believe sign in should be doing something. Bear with me. I'm not quite sure why Google is, well, this particular page is loading so slowly, but let's try it now. All right, it appeared now. I'm going to go ahead and type in the domain, click on Admin Console, and then click on Go. And it should take me to sign in. And if you haven't signed in before, it's obviously going to ask you for your email address. It'll ask you for your password to go ahead and log in, and then you'll be taken to admin.google.com/your domain. So in our case, w3cinc.com. It will load any day now. Okay, so as you can see, once you have logged into the admin console, you will see this material design interface, and you have basically everything you need in order to go ahead and set up and remove and add particular items. But let's just go through these in general. So up in the top right-hand corner, you will notice your profile image, whatever profile image you've used, and so you'll know that you're logged into the correct Google account. Okay, so it's really important that you know that you're in the right Google account, especially if you have many of them, but you wouldn't be able to log in to a specific like admin.w3c inc. You're not going to be able to log into that with a personal Gmail account, so you would unlikely, not log into the correct one. But for those who have multiple Google G Suite accounts, sometimes there is some mistaken, I've logged in here and I don't know how to get to this particular user. It's most likely because you're logged into the wrong account. So make sure that you go ahead and know that that's where that is. On the left-hand side panel, you have what we call the hamburger bars, sort of the 3 layers, and you just click on that, and that opens up your left-hand side panel, and that basically is everything you see in icons on the main screen, but it just gives you the options of quickly shuffling through those particular items there. At any time, you can click on support, which is the third up from the bottom, and you can contact the support team if you run into any difficulties. Okay, so let's run through these from top left across and then the second row. All right, so here we have users, and this is where you add, rename and manage users. So anytime someone comes and joins your company, you will be able to go ahead and add users. The rates for the various G Suite accounts runs from about $5 up to about $15 per month, depending upon which services you want. Okay, so how much space is available in your account and all those other things, running from 30 gigabytes up to unlimited space. Most accounts for under, I believe, 10 users for under 10 users is 1 terabyte per user across their entire account, which is email, Google Drive, and otherwise. Okay, so you can go ahead and move users around. One really amazing part about Google is that they allow you within G Suite to take a user and transfer them over. So say you have someone who has been terminated or someone who unfortunately passes away while you have employed them, you can immediately transfer all of the things that are in their account over to another user so that there's a seamless transition of documents or email or those kinds of things to someone else who can handle it. So those things happen there. Company profile is where you're going to update all of your company information, including where you're going to manage your domain and all of those kinds of things. Also so as you can see here, if you click on the left-hand side panel, we have our logo here and the domain. That's all managed under the company profile. I don't want to get too far into the weeds here because I have much more to cover, but billing, this is where you handle billing and manage licensing. Apps, I'm going to go into just very briefly so you can see what it looks like, but within apps is where you actually have the main G Suite apps. So in this case, G Suite covers Gmail, Google Calendar, your Google Drive, the various applications under Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Forms, and Google Sites, and so on and so forth. But then you can actually implement so many other services within the additional Google Services area. As you can see, we have 51 other additional Google services enabled, and that includes Google Voice, Blogger, Google Photos, you name it. There's YouTube, right, where we can have within YouTube I have training videos for my staff so that I show them how to do things. With the screen recording, it's all private. It's shared between them. I have training videos for specific staff. So since we do training, I am always concerned about a client not being able to remember how they went through to get to where they got. Where they wanted to go to so that they could get something done. So we record those, we put them into the YouTube, into a private YouTube video, because you can have them public or private, and we share that with that particular client. And now if they wanted to go and sort of refresh themselves about what they were trained on, they can go to their YouTube account, and it will be available to them to watch later. And they can scrub to a specific spot, so they don't have to watch the entire video, just to the points where they need to refresh their memory. So additional Google services, fantastic. And then the marketplace apps area. This is actually an area where you can add third-party integrated apps, and this includes accounting software that integrates with the Google platform, any HR software that integrates with the platform, sales tools like Salesforce and other kinds of CRMs that integrate with the Google platform. So like I said, if there's something within G Suite itself, you can still run your entire business, because of all of these other services that integrate with Google and have apps both in the cloud as well as on mobile devices. So really, really important for you to check out the apps in the Google Services window. Okay, so under the app section, groups are built for internal mailing. Okay, so groups are groups of individuals within your business. So if you have departments, say you have customer service, maybe you have sales, maybe you have support, you then would have those three grouped together, and then you would have an ability to email or communicate with those people very quickly and easily with just one email address. So groups are really great for being able to do that, and that helps you sort of organize your teams naturally. Okay, security helps you lock computers, change passwords, all of those kinds of things under security. Support I've talked about. Device management, again, not specific to users, but specific to a device. So say that a staff member or you lose, a phone or a laptop or a tablet at an airport or out to dinner, you name it, you're out at a client site, you leave the device. Well, from the admin console, you can just quickly and easily from your mobile phone and the admin console app go in, lock that device, you can wipe it clean, you can do whatever you need to do with minimal risk to your business data. Okay? Under reports, you can track usage of services, see how much allotment each user is using, what kinds of audit reports, and so on and so forth. And especially if you have the Vault app, this is a test account for demonstration purposes, so it's not in here in sight right now, but the Vault application would give you additional auditing privileges to be able to do more in that way. Okay, so that's just the admin console in general. As you can see, it's very simple. You click on the area that you need to fix something, go in there, and it will help you through there. At any point, you can click on the help function up here where it says help, and that will go ahead and give you the opportunity to get assistance for whatever you might need. So you can say, oh, I need help with billing, and ask your question, and there will likely be a support article that will help you, and then if not, you can always talk with support by clicking on support and asking your question there. Okay, so that's the Google Admin Console and just sort of how you get around the primary functions of the Google of the G Suite. Okay, so then going back, I just wanted to take you into next just the idea of learning in no, I'm sorry. So going back to the concept of Google Drive within G Suite, I wanted to spend just a moment talking about two products, Google Drive and Google Sites, because I think a lot of people don't know these exist in G Suite, and I've gone through the setup process with G Suite in prior webinars. So if you go back to I think the April 2016 one, I go through the whole process of setting up a G Suite account, so you can go back there and it's pretty much the same process. So feel free to do that. But if you're in Google Drive, say here we are, logged into a test account of a Google Drive account, most people know Google Drive as this web-based service, right? Here I can upload documents, I can drag documents into this space, and I can otherwise, manage documents here in the cloud using Google Drive. But what most people don't know is that there's actually a downloadable Google Drive application that allows you to selectively synchronize the documents within Google Drive to your computer. Now, there's a couple things that you need to know about this. One is that there are applications for the desktop, so if I happen to be on a Mac today, but if you're on a Chromebook, if you're on Windows computer or otherwise, you can go ahead and download the application and install it, log into your Google account. They're also available for iOS and for Android. And once you do that, you will see that you have the ability to save documents to and from your Google Drive. The main sort of folder, the root folder as we call it, in Google Drive is called My Drive. Okay? So anything that is in My Drive that is an individual folder, individual file, not a folder, will synchronize to your desktop if you use the desktop software. Okay, so you see these three files. If you put them into My Drive, this main root folder, no matter what you do, they will always synchronize to your desktop. Okay, so they'll always be there. If they're in a folder, though, say they're in a folder within My Drive, so going back here, these folders here, there are these other folders here. Any of these folders, I can tell Google Drive to synchronize or not synchronize to my desktop. So for example, I have a travel laptop, and I don't want my client files physically on my client on my travel laptop, which is the one I'm using right now. So I don't synchronize Google Drive's on my business clients folder to this drive. I don't need it while I'm on an airplane, right? I just really don't. So I download things that I'm working on. So I might be working on a book, or I might be working on a training slide set, or I might be working on an online course. Well, I'm going to have those downloaded for offline use within Google Drive, but I'm not going to have other folders. So Google Drive has that capability. It's called Selective Sync. It's phenomenal, and I suggest you utilize that. Okay. And then of course in the browser you can always download particular items for offline use within Google Drive's web interface. Okay, and that's actually in here. So you go here, and then so we're in the Google Drive, drive.google.com. We go to Settings, and then you're able to then turn offline on. See where this says offline? You just click that and it will synchronize your Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, and drawing files so that you can go ahead and have access to them offline while you might be on a plane or otherwise. Okay? So clarification, when you're doing that in the browser, Google Drive is now saving Google Drive's own format of files in the cloud. But you can't open up, say, a Google Sheets document, which is the Microsoft Excel workbook equivalent. You couldn't open that on the desktop. Okay, it's not in a format that can be opened by Excel. You can always download an Excel format of it to use in Excel, but they're just not compatible. And so when you actually download these items to your desktop from Google Drive, they're just going to be links back to Google Drive, special links that you can do things with, but they're not the actual file. So be very aware of that your Google Drive account is attempting to keep everything in the cloud so that it synchronizes, but that's just the way it works. So just wanted to give you a little sort of headway there that Google Drive is fantastic if you start to really get to know how the application works and how you can selectively put some files in certain places so that you have access to them, but you don't really need to clutter up your computer with all of your Google Drive documents. Just because it can synchronize them doesn't mean you need to synchronize them all there. Next up is Google Sites. So a lot of businesses have a website already, some don't, and if you don't have a website and you're just getting started, then the new Google Sites is actually a phenomenal tool, and it's really fantastic because you can spend $5, $10, $20 a month for Squarespace or Wix or other WordPress.com, or launching your own WordPress site using the software and a host. Well, you could do that very inexpensively because you're going to spend $5, $10, $15 a month for all of G Suite, and you get Google Sites built into it. So instead of having to have a host in addition, you can use the new sites here. So what the new sites does is it gives you the ability to go ahead and create a new website, and you just click on the little red plus sign to create a new website, and you'll choose a domain, your domain I'm presuming, and yourbusiness.com, and it'll walk you through the whole process. It has a wizard for being able to do that. You can add pages, and you can then also implement embedded Google Sheets documents. You can embed, hold on one second, let me let this just finish loading, whatever it's loading. I'm always nervous that the audio quality will dip if I'm in here. But as you can see, you just get this page. You can title the pages, and this is all in a draft setting, so you don't have to worry about anyone seeing it yet. You can move things around, so you can just grab the handlebars and say, oh, I'd like this to be someplace else. I want that in the center. I want this a little bit farther to the right. And you can go ahead and just click in things and change them. And so it's very, very easy to basically create a website. This is what we call a WYSIWYG, editor. What you see is what you get, and you go through the whole process of doing this. You can collaborate with your team, and then when you're ready, you can go ahead and publish the website. And so this is my website, and you give it a name, obviously one that's a little more search engine optimized than my website. But then if you decide, oh, you know what, I need to grab an image, well, you can go ahead and put images in here, and those would be images that you have maybe from Google Drive. Maybe you have those images in Google Photos. You can grab all of them from wherever you might have them. You can upload them from your desktop, and you can put in Google Drive documents, YouTube, you can embed your calendar, you can embed a map for the location of your business or a geographic region that you go ahead that you want them to know. You could put forms like a contact form in your website and create as many pages as you want, attach documents, attach forms, upload documents, all here in this platform. And it's super easy, and it's built by Google, so you know that they're going to be able to index their own tools platform. And you have a lot of themes as an option. So here, this is a home page, right? So this is their first page. If you wanted to add more pages, click on the Add Pages. Under Themes, you could choose all kinds of really fun and professional themes. Depending upon your brand and style, you can implement your brand right on top of it, putting in your logo and so on and so forth. So they give you some options there to be able to get your website up and running. And so I really think it's a great, inexpensive way for businesses to be able to utilize. Like I said, it's built into the G Suite price, so you basically have it, not for the cost of nothing, but pretty close to it. All right, so check out sites.google.com/new in order to be able to access that. And of course, you want to access that from within your own G Suite account if you have one. And then if you decide to launch G Suite, you really want to do that before you launch the website, because you want it all within the same account as opposed to it being in another Gmail account and not in your G Suite account. Okay, so just make sure that you create it in the right account that you want it. Okay, so we've talked about the two sort of big ticket items, and so then I just wanted to cover learning G Suite, because learning G Suite is by itself somewhat of a challenge for not just the business owner, but I think also for the staff. So you want to be able to teach your staff quickly and easily how to use the various products. From Gmail, if I don't really know many people who don't have a Gmail account nowadays, right? But there are people who don't, and so they need to know and learn about it. And then there's Google Hangouts, and Google Hangouts are a big product, that seems very simple on its surface, but there's a lot that under the hood that really goes into properly hosting and setting up meetings with a client, or with even if you're doing a workshop or seminar publicly. You can do that through Google Hangouts on Air. You really need to learn that product pretty in depth so that you can go ahead and do it professionally and well. Using, because you're representing your brand, you want to make sure it looks good. So there are ways in which you can learn these things, and I just want to cover them really quickly. So the first one, and I'll actually show you these. I'll jump over to the browser to show you them as well. The first one is a product called G Suite Training. So this company called Centralize developed this really fantastic Chrome browser extension, okay? And since it's a Chrome browser extension, it should also work in Firefox. There's an ability for there to be parity between Chrome extensions and Firefox extensions. Don't hold me to that, but I believe you should be able to still use it in Firefox. But anyway, it's a Chrome browser extension, and so you install the extension, and then you might have seen this in the interface, but there was a little Google logo with a question mark in the top right-hand corner of Google Drive when I was in that interface, and you click on that, and then up pops a window for you to be able to search for how to do certain things, like how do I share a document in Google Drive? How do I email collaborators on a document? How do I do X or Y, right? So anything within G Suite, you're able to do that. So the company Synergize developed this. Google bought them, and so now they're called G Suite Training. They had another name prior to that, but so the G Suite Training Chrome browser extension is a great first step in just learning how to get quickly a video sort of tutorial on how to get things things done within the G Suite interface. Next up, Google themselves has created the G Suite Learning Center, and if you go to gsuite.google.com/learning-center, it takes you to an area where you're able to learn about each of the G Suite products, product by product, or across various areas. So if you're in retail, it can show you the retail solutions of how to actually utilize that across your business in that particular area. If you're a service-based business, you can look at the various industries that they have there, and it'll show you that. You can learn by product and otherwise. All right. Also, I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube show that Google has put out for G Suite. It's called the G Suite Apps Show. I think it's just called the Apps Show. And every week they put out different shows, different episodes that cover different aspects of G Suite. They also give you updates regarding the product, and it's just a good way to stay on top of what's happening in G Suite, okay? Because they are rolling out new features on a regular basis, and you have a choice in G Suite to be on the accelerated track for being able to have things, if G Suite puts out a new update, you can give yourself some time before it rolls out to everybody, and then you can be on an accelerated track so that you get it as soon as it comes out and Google has published it. So you have sort of two different options. Most people allow it for the normal rollout so that they have some buffer time between when it goes live in the system and then when it goes out to all the users, so that you're able to do some training to let your users know about the changes, do some training, and then have the final rollout date happen across the board. Okay, so those are the three things that I recommend everyone sort of get comfortable with regarding G Suite, and I just wanted to show you very quickly what these look like. So first is the G Suite training Chrome extension, and you can see it here. I'm not going to launch it for real because it's a fairly large item, and I don't want I'm running too many big applications on this computer right now for the webinar. So the idea here is that pretty much anytime or anywhere you are in the G Suite environment, you can ask it to do things, and it will give a video, and it'll teach you how to do those things. And so there are various tracks, like I'd like to learn things about Google Drive, I'd like to learn things about YouTube, I'd like to learn things about Google Calendar, and then it has video tutorials that will walk you through the interface to show you how to do those things. Okay, most of them are fairly basic things, but for a new user, this is a great way to learn about using G Suite without any cost. It's free. Okay, so highly recommend that you try that out. Next up, as I said, is the Learning Center, and so here on the Learning Center, you can see that you can learn about these particular products one by one. So say that you wanted to learn about all the communications products. We didn't even talk about Google Groups, but Google Groups is within the email forum software, email list management software. But anyway, the idea here is that you have these communication tools, and you can click on Gmail and then learn everything you need to learn to get started with Gmail. Okay, or if you're interested in sites, you come over here, click on Sites, and it'll take you through all the tips and tricks on how to launch a website with your team from scratch using Google Sites. And again, I highly recommend that you use the new Google Sites, which is sites.google.com/new. Okay, so don't use the old one, because they'll be porting all those old ones, and it was clunky and all those other things that you can say about that old system. But the new system is actually very different, and I really like using it. Okay, so yeah, so that's the Learning Center. You just go ahead and feel free to hop over there and use it, and then what else was I going to show you? Okay, so getting started. So finally, most people ask me, so where to get started, Ray? How should I get started with G Suite? One is that you need to decide on whether you need G Suite or you just need Gmail for Business, going to that google.com/sign up/apps, blah, 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 link that I gave earlier. So you can either choose Gmail for Business if really you just need small-scale email management of users, and maybe some access to your managing of your domains, all from the same sort of interface. That's Joomla for Business. If you need to manage your entire business infrastructure and you have things just everywhere, you have an app for this here and you have an app for that there, and you want to sort of consolidate those all under one infrastructure, G Suite is probably the likely choice, and then you just need to figure out what you're going to do with regard to the other products and transitioning them over to G Suite, right? So you want to make sure that that's something that you think about. And so you're going to decide on how many licenses you need. Pretty much per person is what you're going to need, right? You have yourself, if you have an assistant, or if you have other staff members, if you have yourself and your partner, and it's just the two of you, then it's going to be 2 licenses. You have to figure out how many licenses, and then, of course, figure out what your budget is for doing that. I always take into account, well, if we no longer have a web hosting account because our site is now on Google Sites, if we're not paying for email separate from all of these other services, those aggregated costs on an annual basis split into a monthly fee then is a cost savings if we're paying just the $5, $10, or $15 per month per user with Google's G Suite. Okay, so take those numbers into account, but it's always good to do. And then finally, just create an implementation training and maintenance plan. So how are you going to implement G Suite? Are you going to, set up the account, set up yourself and alone, or yourself plus maybe a couple staff people, test it out with them, and then start the porting process of getting all of the other tools that you're using into G Suite. So if you've been blogging on another platform, you probably want to make sure that you figure out how to use Blogger on G Suite correctly before you transition the blog and do all the things necessary to do 301 redirects so you don't lose search engine optimization and all those other things. So you have to do all that sort of internal work. Figure out what the timeline is for each area of your business, because as I said, G Suite can take over every part of your business. Maybe you decide that you're going to leave your blog where it is and you're not going to bundle it into G Suite. Well, that's okay. That's an additional cost for running that and so on and so forth. But just make sure you know what parts of your business G Suite is going to take over, okay? And then create a timeline for doing so. Next, you're going to go ahead and figure out how to do the training, right? You can use G Suite training, the plugin. You can hire, someone to come in and do a training. You can go ahead and learn about it yourself, and then you can train your staff, whatever you decide to do. And then you need to figure out how you're going to administer and maintain the G Suite account. Who's going to handle, maintaining equipment, and making sure that users are updated, keeping their information updated. Who's going to manage passwords, password reset requests, and those kinds of things. For the most part, G Suite does most of that for you, but you can actually put some controls in so that should those kinds of things happen, say your employee doesn't have access to their personal email account and they lose access to their work password, and so now they're sort of stuck. They don't know how to get a password reset. They're going to have to come to you as the administrator or someone on staff as the administrator to be able to do that. And it's usually best to have more than one administrator for purposes of keeping it going. And then, of course, someone has to maintain the account, meaning someone has to stay abreast of what G Suite is doing. So when Google decides, Google Cloud, the division within Google that manages G Suite, when that team decides to do something new and add new features, who's going to stay on top of that to know, oh, well, you know what, we're going to have a really great new feature added. We should let the staff know, and we should also train them on how to utilize that tool. How is it going to work into our current business workflow as opposed to before, or if there's an interface change. So, like every web, service, UI and UX, user interface, user design choices are made, and systems change looks. So when those happen, you need to know so that you're able to tell your staff, hey, by the way, G Suite's going to look a little different in this product or in this particular interface, and this is how to use it so that you don't get confused or think that something changed that shouldn't have. Someone hacked my computer because G Suite looks different and they panic. They shouldn't be panicked. You should be able to tell them those things are going to happen beforehand. Okay? So for those of you who were so good as to stick with us for the entire time, before we go into Q&A, I have access to promo codes that I can generate for new G Suite users. So you must be a new G Suite user, and this gives you, I think, 20% off of the first year. That's my understanding. So don't hold me to any of these things, but I'm pretty sure those are what Google gives us to be able to give to you. So you have to go to this website. You have to put in www, so www.w3cinc.com/G Suite, and you're going to email me. You'll have my email address on the final slide, and you'll be able to then I'll be able to then issue you a unique promo code. You'll get 14 days for the free trial, and then when you upgrade, you'll be able to use that promo code in order to get 20% off of all of the users that you register at that moment for the first year. So if you register yourself, you get 20% off of your user for the next 12 months. If you register 5 users, you get 20% off for the 5 users that you register at that moment. Okay, so you can't get it. So if you register 1 and then you upgrade another 4 people, you're not going to get it for the next 4, even if it's a day later. From my understanding, I just want to make sure you all know I'm trying to give you a benefit, but I also don't want people to think that misunderstand what we're trying to do here. But it's just an incentive Google gives us for you all to try out G Suite. So I just wanted to give that to you since I have it. Might as well save a couple bucks if you're able to, right? So with that, Q&A. Tracy, if there are questions, I'm happy to answer any questions in our last couple of minutes.
Sure.
And then we can close out.
We've got a couple of them. I'm using an amazing customer management app called Close. Does G Suite offer anything like this? It ties together email, phone calls, and all communications with your clients and prospects.
Right. So G Suite itself doesn't have a CRM built into it, but it does integrate with several. And I'm actually looking right now to see whether or not Close is one of the Google Apps G Suite integration partners. And so bear with me right now, and I'll just see if they actually do. For some reason, I believe that they do, but it's always a question as to so Close Relationship Management looks like it has a Chrome extension, but I don't see it within the apps within the App Store. But I don't see why you wouldn't continue to be able to use Close in conjunction with it. But no, I don't believe that there's no specific Google or G Suite app that takes over Close.
So I think this is along the same. Does G Suite provide an organic CRM solution, or at least the functionality suitable for small businesses?
So G Suite does not have a CRM built in. So again, there are apps within G Suite. Like there's one called ProsperWorks. So very similar to Close. If you want to use G Suite, there is the G Suite CRM that ProsperWorks creates that you can utilize, and it's going to do all the things that your CRM, well, hopefully most of the features that your CRM is going to do, but now you're going to be utilizing that through the G Suite suite. Okay, and so the point in wanting to use G Suite approved integration partners is that they're going to be able to connect to your Google Contacts through your account. They're going to be connecting to your Gmail account, your G Suite email, your G Suite calendar, so that you're not having to double data entry those things in those places, right? So that's where and how you would sort of think about those things. I would look at the G Suite CRM that's built by ProsperWorks and see whether or not that's something that there's a free trial for it, that kind of thing, and see if that isn't something that's going to be suitable for you, and then go from there. But Google does have recommended partners through G Suite, and so if you're on the G Suite website, it's gsuite.google.com/partner/recommended/partner/recommended, and it will have a CRM section, and I believe ProsperWorks is the one that they recommend on their website. So for the questioner who asked about Close and the questioner who asked about the another CRM, that would be the one that Google recommends, and it helps you track your customers and leads and all those things along the funnel.
Is data migration solely for Google Education, or does it also come with G Suite for Business?
Is this someone who had Google Apps for Education or G Suite for Education and now is asking if there's parity for G Suite in the business environment? Is that the question?
I think you were talking about, I'm not sure if the person that was asking that question could follow up, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so if that's the question, yes, Google has the ability to go ahead and migrate all kinds of data from different systems, and you would talk to one of the implementation specialists who would be able to help you, and they're there. The support will help you with those data migration issues, and they're very good at being able to help you with that. And then, but if you're migrating from another G Suite product to one of the other platforms, they should be able to do that as well.
Okay. Does Sites include an SEO tool?
Google Sites itself doesn't provide you with its own internal SEO tool. It has all the functions to see under the hood, but you should use the Google Search Console, right, which is another one of those additional services within G Suite. So, when I showed you like the primary G Suite apps and then the additional services, Google Search Console will be one of those. You'll basically enable Google Search Console, and now you'll be able to see what Google sees about your website using Google Sites. So you'll be able to see your sitemap, you can register your sitemap, you can see how many times they've crawled your website, you can see all that information about them and issues that might be related to the website that you need to fix so that it's more search engine optimized, and then you can sort of, make the changes.
I'll need about 1 month to decide whether to try out G Suite. Is there a deadline for the promo code?
No. So the reason why they're uniquely generated is I have to go into a dashboard and I have to register to get the promo code, and then I send it to you. So there's no deadline. Once I do send you the code, I think there's a year. You have to use the promo code within a year. Otherwise, just come back to me, shoot me an email. I'll send you another one. That's not a big deal. But it's only on a new account, right? So it has to be on that first user account. No, there's not really a deadline in that sense. You have a year once I give you the promo code to use it.
Does G Suite have a timekeeping app?
I don't know what you mean by a timekeeping app in the sense of something that allows you to track a timesheet. You can create a Google form if you were just tracking time. I happen to use an application called Toggl, Toggl.com, and Toggl, I log in through my Google account, so in this case my G Suite account for tracking business billable time, and so I can track time there, and then it produces reports for me. But I also integrate with an invoicing software, which is one of the Google Apps integration partners, and that allows me to bill directly, from within my Google account. So I would look at the Google Apps Marketplace for the G Suite Marketplace now, but the Apps Marketplace, so that you can see what integration partners are available. If you're looking for a timer, there's all kinds of time, billing and time tracking tools within the Apps Marketplace that you can use.
Can you migrate old GoDaddy-based emails and contacts, including folder structure, over to new Gmail addresses?
Yes, so you can. It's more technical than we have time for in the time we have right now, but yes, you can. You would have to look in the Google support help functions in G Suite. They'll have a support section like I showed you, and they will show you how to use. You'll have to use an external tool like Thunderbird or another mail application. Apple Mail should be able to do it, but basically you're going to take that folder structure and drop it over, and it's going to be IMAP to IMAP. Or POP3 to now G Suite's IMAP, and it will go ahead and just copy the folders over. So yeah, it can be done.
Okay. To use G Suite, is it a requirement to have one of Google's, quote, My Company emails?
Yes. So you have to have a domain, and therefore you can either buy it through Google at the time you create, and by it I mean subscribe to, register the domain, which is an annual fee, and so you have to have that domain, and so you don't have to use the email address necessarily, but why wouldn't you at that point? Because you're paying for the email service. You can continue using your whatever other email service you are utilizing. You can change the MX records with Google so that, I'm sorry, change the MX records with your domain registrar so that you continue to use your old email hosting service and not use that with Google. You can do that. So like I said, you can always selectively choose which services within G Suite you do use, but I don't, you'd have to have a really good reason to tell me why you don't want to use it, and then we could maybe talk.
Okay. I got a couple of other questions, and then we'll finish up. One is just says services for legal question mark. I think more questions about different apps.
So if you're in the legal industry, is that what the question is? If someone's in the legal industry and they wanted more?
I'll let the person who typed that question give us a little bit more information.
Yeah,
yes, that's exactly what.
Clarify for Tracy and
yes.
myself. Okay, so if you're in the legal industry, there are a number of different resources. Again, by going into the support area and looking it up, and that's just a matter of figuring out what particulars you're looking for. So if you're an attorney in private practice and you're looking to use G Suite, it's a fantastic tool for it, and there's really not much more that I need to tell you other than making sure that you're complying with your local, whether it's the state ethics, attorney ethics, regulations and what they require of you, and then that's pretty much it. There's billing there's billing tools within the apps marketplace for you to be able to bill and track hours and bill clients. So yeah, it's a great tool if you're practicing.
Okay. And this will let you kind of tie it. Is Google Drive essentially the same as Microsoft Office? Last question.
So essentially, yes, the fundamentals are there. You have a word processing application. You have that you can collaborate live with thousands of people at a time, whatever. You can, and giving different levels of access. You have a spreadsheet software, a presentation software, and the ability to store documents within Google Drive. Not only native documents, you can save a Word document in Google Drive and leave it a Word document, or you can convert it to the Google Docs format, so that you can edit it in the cloud. So you can save PDFs, you can save video, you can save audio, you can save coding, you can save images, you can save whatever file you want, but only some of them can be opened, obviously, within Google Drive itself.
Okay. Well, those were all the questions. Thank you, everyone, for participating in today's webinar. Today's webinar was recorded, and it'll be posted on the Virginia SBDC website under live webinars and recordings. Tomorrow you'll be receiving a follow-up email on the webinar, and there'll be an evaluation link in the email. Please help us to continue to improve our training by taking the time to complete the evaluation. If you want to complete it now, I put a link in the chat window for you, and you can just click on that and complete the survey. Our next webinar will be web-based productivity on February 9th. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and thank you, Ray, for another great webinar.